seems only yesterday that these same youngsters were throwing their food around, or trying to climb out of their high chairs, or spilling their milk all over the place. Their mothers were patiently or impatiently spoon-feeding them, and then suddenly they grew up a bit. And here they are away from their mothers, feeling quite secure in the more or less formal environment of a preschool group. This dramatic change from year to year, in fact from month to month, in feelings, attitudes, and behavior, is what child development is all about.
You got 2 grapes. All right, put it on your spoon, Carol.
Such changes are connected with body changes. At this age, large muscles are growing stronger. What a joy to use them fully in new kinds of play. What sense of self-fulfillment in exercising newfound powers. Obviously, it is more than just the bodies that are growing. Just moving independently can strengthen the sense of self and independence. This is play, to be sure, but looked at with insight, it is growth and development we are watching. The children are becoming something different from what they were yesterday. They can cause their own splash in the world. Their self-centered existence is opening up to admit others of their age who can do things to them and to whom they can do things. The things they do may seem hostile to us, but often they are merely overtures, demands made for the sake of getting a response, ways of making a connection. And in the play situation, one can learn how far one can go without getting into trouble. Much of the initial interchange at this age is physical. Hands and bodies are our first tools of communication, and so are simpler to use and understand. It's all give and take, this free play. It's fun to give, to pour water. It's fun to take, a nice cool bath on a hot day. But it's still more fun to connect or relate to other people. That's what these youngsters are practicing with their buckets and hoses. Each small person who splashes or is splashed enters into a new experience. This is a change from personal isolation. Call it play, call it group activity. It means doing things with others. The doing can be competitive and physical. One can act with or against one's companion. The difference is not as important as the interaction. This step toward becoming part of the world around one has many aspects. An important one is the development of skills. For little muscles and brains are growing along with the big muscles. Little fingers can learn to do things, to shape, to make, to create. And when there is production, there are other people to watch, to help, to advise. For creative action is interesting and reassuring. We make a lot of our friends while doing the same thing they're doing. We have common problems. We learn from one another. We help one another. It's a way of making us feel we belong to a group. We share an experience together and gradually learn to share things. Not an easy lesson to learn. At first, it is easier to socialize in pairs, usually of the same sex. The relation of just two is simpler, especially now that words are being used more for communication. These two are together in the midst of the crowd. They can separate in space and still be together. Words are being used by this pair too, but they are reinforced by a curious ritual of physical caresses and insults. The two boys have devised an elaborate initiation ceremony with wet sand as a substitute for less acceptable dirt. This is their technique for making friends and working out feelings. Some games involve learning how to do things together. Sometimes it is helpful to destroy first and then rebuild. Unbuilding, it might be called. This is truly a joint project. There's room for everybody to take a hand, to do a part of the job, to contribute. That's the real secret of belonging. Contributing and receiving something from the group effort. Helping one another. What impossible task cannot be accomplished by cooperative effort? No one needs to tell the other what to do. No one has planned the operation. But children who have done a job together will recognize each other a little later as friends. They have made a connection, and each feels stronger. But not all preschool children use the same skills in coping with the task of making friends. Some of them are more complex. Betty has chosen Paul as the boy she'd like to play with. But Paul is engrossed with his own games and pays no attention to her. She decides that if he likes toy trucks so much, this one would make an effective lure, and so she captures it and runs. While he gives chase, she is happy. She has his attention and is in control. But when he stops pursuing her, she is left holding no value. What is a girl to do? Give up? Betty desperately needs assurance that she is not unwanted, so she is compelled to continue her quest. Paul has moved to the pool area. Well, and it's all in play. Play that can be imaginative, inventive, and sometimes a means of expression. Some forms of play seem to suggest more than just practicing skills. Do they emerge from a remembered or an imagined past? Is she playing mommy now? Is he playing newborn or even unborn infant? Play often reveals fantasies children have as they try to deal with questions that are puzzling them. Some children do not seem to be ready to make friends. This can be a danger sign, suggesting hidden fears of non-existent threats. Or it can simply indicate a need for quiet, a time for meditation, or even dreaming. Certainly, the child who persists in seeking solitude bears careful observation. A clue to the meaning of the self-imposed aloneness is whether or not the child himself seems upset. Some of us are better mixers than others, but we all have our own timetable. Sometimes it's important just to get off by oneself. As when we have work to do. The ability to lose oneself in productive activity is a strength, even though it suggests being oblivious of the noisy children all around. The world can sometimes be peopled more satisfactorily by one's own imagination, or the imagination of writers and artists. The attention span of preschoolers is limited. Yet some youngsters can retreat from the hurly-burly of play for long periods to concentrate on something they find engrossing. This vicarious experience can substitute for active play. The girls seem able to relax, enjoying themselves alone or in company. How close the friendship seems when it grows out of such tranquil moments of togetherness.
We leaned against a tree and started to count to 500 by 5. Can you count by 5, Carol?
1,
Carol?
3, 4, 5.
Good. That's pretty hard.
Ow! That's it.
Other youngsters cannot share easily at this age, especially not the attention of an adult. They seem to need it all for themselves. Temporarily, they have a sense of control over the needed person. I had it first. Fair and equal sharing isn't the first inclination of most children. These values come from family and group experiences and inner feelings of belonging. Children need adult support to help them learn to share.
Then we'll play with it later, okay? Could you have it? Good boy, thank you. Want to play with that now? Okay. You want to play with it? Okay, you take this and go play with it. Pull your car. Pull your car. Thank you, Russ. You're a good boy, okay? Good boy. You're a good boy. Okay, you go play. You gonna have a race? The race started? Okay, go ahead.
The crisis subsides, but like other legal decisions, no one seems pleased with the outcome. And so it is not surprising when the altercation resumes after a few minutes of peace.
Hey, Dan, you make a trade? You want this truck? You want this big? Oh, he let you play with it.
At this age, the power of logic is not very effective, because children's ways of thinking are different from adults. One would think that a crying child is concerned principally with his pain. But no, this one is more interested in being believed. Having his aggressor identified is more important than balm for his wounds. And only after this has been attended to is the victim ready to seek comfort and solace. Maybe the insult hurt worse than the sand in his eye. Often the social behavior of children is extremely complex and difficult to understand. Robert first tries to bother Nancy, but fails. So he gets into a chair-pushing contest with Alan. But Alan isn't having any of him either. So Robert is left without the reaction that he seems to need. He goes on to challenge one child after another. Why? What is he looking for? Is he just learning how far he can go in being provocative in a social situation? Why does he keep checking up to see if the teacher is watching? None of the other children are bothering him. And he seems to get no satisfaction out of bothering them, even when they cry. Is he jealous of the contentment of others? Every toy in his hands becomes an instrument of assault, and always the vigilant look. His is no simple motivation. He seems compelled to keep at it until a climax is reached. And now, finally, success, a major catastrophe, the climax. But Robert is still waiting for something. Is it a punishment long feared, but also needed as a show of his power over his environment?
Take all the blocks and put them over there on that table. Put it right over there on that table. That table right there.
In the meantime, Sally has given plenty of sympathy. Children often come running to the rescue when there's trouble. Sometimes they just stand and look. They seem to be learning how to handle their own crises by identifying with the child in trouble. This, too, is a technique of socialization.
Jeff, what's the matter?
Socialization in a larger group, structured by the teacher, is more difficult. Some children join in without really participating.
Hurry up, I'm going to bump into this. Oh, another one, all right.
Others may find a place that satisfies them, but does not contribute to the group goal.
Oh, all right. Very good. Good boy. Very good. All right, you ready now? Let's hear choo-choo. I don't hear any choo-choos from anybody. You going to say choo-choo? Oh, Nancy, you going to say choo-choo? Okay, you ready? Let's go. Stand your feet. Get her going.
Other structured activities, even learning games, when they are made attractive, provide a chance to learn more about participation and taking turns, another aspect of socialization.
All right. You want to play too? Okay. You want to play too? Can we let Troy play too? You want to do it again? All right. You want to play too?
And some interaction is pure delight. Children of this age, we know, are finding out who they are. What a wonderful feeling to discover it is possible to be someone else, just with a change of hats. What makes you want to sing and dance just because you're wearing a costume? Dressing up is not only fun, it is a projection of other worlds and draws one deeply into a social relationship with one's peers.
Very nice.
Who is the strange person in the mirror? Is this another insight into the self that is emerging from the anonymity of babyhood? Is this a chance to check on sex differences that have not yet been fully understood, that have not yet become rigid? All these subjects are fascinating to a preschooler. And so our lunch table is surrounded by interesting, developing, unique members of a society. The thing most wonderful about them, and the hardest to see at a fleeting glance, is the changing process itself. But as they eat together, or talk together, or play together, they sometimes reveal the distance they have come from infancy. And sometimes they give us a glimpse of where they will be tomorrow. For the development of a healthy child is a continuous happening. Today they join the group. Tomorrow they will interact with it. Nothing in the process is static. A child cannot stop developing.